Welcome back. Let's discuss Marico's earnings. We've got Saugata Gupta with us, the MD and CEO. Saugata, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this is the second consecutive quarter where we've seen a volume growth decline, and it's actually the lowest growth that we've seen now in 10 quarters. What's the expectation going forward, Saugata? Do you expect to see more pain in Q1?
So firstly, I think let me just put some color onto the volume growth. We did deliver positive secondary growth, and we were on track to deliver mid single digit volume growth had not the COVID lockdown happened. So I think we were tracking well till 15th or 10th or 15th of March. So I don't think in relative terms the fact that we had almost 7 days of lockdown and then 3 to 4 days of additional disruption before the lockdown happened. Minus 3% has to be seen in that context. And as I said, that we were on track for a recovery and we would have had a better quarter definitely versus the previous quarter. And we have had a positive secondary growth. We have significant data to suggest that there has been reduced inventory at both the distributor and the retailer level. Now, coming to the quarter ahead, I think it's very difficult right now to predict something. All we can say is that we are now tracking, as of now in April, as we exited April at 70 to 80% of our run rate, which we were doing last year. And things will only improve. The issue is that obviously that I think there are two things. One is people will go for trusted brands. You have to make it available, and you have to ensure that as the situation unfolds, especially in a post-COVID world where disposable income will be stressed, I believe that we have to give value to the consumers, and there are enough cost opportunities across the spectrum to ensure we divert all this to deliver value to the consumers. Lastly, I believe that the discretionary component of our portfolio is very less. Most of our items are which are used in daily consumption, and therefore, as long as we pass value, focus all our energies behind distribution, especially rural direct distribution, ensure that we continue to support our entire system. I believe there is no reason that there would be a significant any dent. Obviously, first quarter will be something which is we have to see how it pans out, given the fact that lockdown exit strategy and how the situation, I think the situation is improving, both at the supply chain, production and sales. But we have to see, wait and watch. And I think we need to start looking at it definitely in a different frame from Q2, Q3, Q4.
Let's talk about edible oils. Now there, of course, Marico has gotten quite a huge lift on the back of that segment. Would you attribute Safola's robust 25% volume growth to panic buying of sorts?
I think Safola was growing at a double-digit growth even before the COVID situation started. And as you would know that Safola grew double digits in the previous quarter also. I think it is part of our strategy of focusing on providing value to the consumer and our new communication and our distribution strategy. Now, regarding Saffola, what has happened is essentially, yes, there was some element of pantry loading that happened during the last 2 weeks of March. But as per the current trends, what we are noticing, if you look at a Saffola consumer, I think the Saffola consumer is typically is a metro top end, which they used to travel a lot, they used to eat out a lot. So therefore, in-home consumption or home cooking occasion for the Saffola consumer has increased manifold. So therefore, if you look at a loyal consumer of Saffola, I see a consumption increase of significant consumption increase, and therefore that is leading to the Saffola growth. In fact, we have a capacity constraint, as you know, that the factories are operating at a lower capacity. But I think the demand, the April demand is not pantry loading. The April demand is a higher consumption one. Some part of the March demand was pantry loading.
Saugata, so sticking with Saffola, the double-digit volume growth is going to continue or not, A? And what level of capacity are you being able to produce at? Will it be able to cater to the increased demand post the lockdown?
I think Saffola, we are confident about double-digit growth. As you know that we have to maintain strict protocols in the factories, and of course, right now, of course, the supply chain improvement has happened and there is better transport, logistics, and labor availability in our distribution and our CNFAs. But as far as the factory is concerned, obviously it will take time to ramp up because right now we are with the significant new protocols in place and the standard operating processes in place to for health and hygiene needs. We need to ramp up production in a certain way. Having said that, I think given our position, although we are hand to mouth on Saffola, I think obviously there will be that system stock that used to be there that will go down to zero. But we are confident enough to say that we will cater to Saffola needs and ensure that Saffola attempts to grow double digits definitely during the year.
So in the current scenario, Saugata, with the decline in raw material prices as well, are you looking to pass on the benefits to the consumer to try and boost demand? Is that going to be part of the strategy?
Absolutely. I think as long as we will try, our first thing is to maximize volumes. If the category growths are not as high as what we had planned to be, obviously make up those through market share gains by providing value and ensure at the same time we look at a zero-based costing approach to question all costs in the system so that we also try to maintain our operating margins, and we are confident about maintaining our operating margins in this year also.
Okay, what about tier 2, tier 3 cities? What's the buying scenario there like, Saugata? If you could share with us, what you've observed and, what kind of consumer trends you're also picking up in rural areas.
I think as far as rural area is concerned, I think there is a lot of, in terms of our ability to distribute at the rural areas is still challenged. I think we are obviously working with different local governments. It is just not the question of the logistics and the permission. It's a question of availability of our distribution system. We are very, very concerned about also the April on the safety of our staff. Our third-party sales force. And lastly, one issue that will start coming, hopefully, and I don't know how long it will take, is the liquidity and the cash position in the system. So we are supporting our distributors in terms of some credit. We are ensuring that we also ensure that we support the third-party sales force of our distributor sales force in terms of safety, health and hygiene. And at least we will hopefully in the green zones, which are gradually opening up, we expect to get a better visibility of what rural will play out in the subsequent quarters. Right now, obviously, the most of the sales was where we could reach. But I would say that our if you want to know what distribution capacity we are operating in rural, it will be more 30-40% and not more than that right now. It doesn't necessarily lead to that much sales drop because as I said that what is happening is the lot of sales is being led through the high throughput outlets.
Okay, with focus being on essentials as well, are you now going to take a step back with regards to the premiumization of products? What's going to be the strategy post-COVID? Will you then look at, as you were mentioning earlier, just maintaining focus on essentials?
I think absolutely. I think what we will do is definitely that as far as the premiumization journey is concerned, obviously it takes a pause. That doesn't mean the medium-term strategy is abandoned. I see in our portfolio, which is male grooming, some part of skincare and premium hair nourishment, there are two opportunities. At the top end, I believe there still demand exists, except that will be only fed through e-commerce and to an extent chemist outlets. As far as the entry point is concerned, the LUPs could still play a role. Having said that, I think we would like to divert our resources towards health and hygiene and to an extent food, because we see a lot of healthy in-home, ready-to-cook and ready-to-eat food occasions that will arise over the next couple of quarters. We have started also a journey on health and hygiene. We have launched a sanitizer. We have launched, we're just about in the process launching a unique product called Veggie Clean, which is a vegetable wash, which is very, very critical in today's world. And we would definitely play a more strategic role in health and hygiene, and not just because everybody is launching a sanitizer. I think the question is, as and when things settle down, only few brands will survive. And therefore, we intend to play a more strategic role in health and hygiene and just not tactically, launch a sanitizer.
So, Saugata, just last and final question. All in all, what kind of an impact do you foresee because of the COVID pandemic? And to what extent is it going to impact your sales, you think?
So as I said that we are now tracking 70 to 80% of our run rate. So I think it has rapidly improved. Our factories are operating anything between 50 to 60% right now. But again, there are constraints because of labor, because of social distancing. I think the supply chain has gradually improved, and I think we are okay on the raw material front. There is no stress as far as raw material and other things are concerned. And as and when India opens up and more zones become to green, I think the normalization will start. But I think the trick is how do we ensure that we are better available, our distribution is more. We have experimented with a lot of prototypes of different distribution models in the urban zone, including aggregators, direct distribution. And lastly, conserve cash so that we can provide value to the consumers and support our distribution system in terms of credit and all that, because that is going to be very, very critical, because that is what will be a situation once the things open up.
Have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us so candidly as to what's really going to happen to sales when it comes to Marico in a post-COVID world. Just looking at what the markets are up to after that 5.5% cut yesterday, we started off in the green by about 1.5%. But then again, you know, that recovery is getting somewhat sold into. So just a while back, we were up just about 0.5% or so. It's a very tentative start, if I may use the word. While the breadth, of course, is in the positive. There's Infratel